Hey guys, enter the stars, and I'm gonna allow you guys a few minutes to filter in. And while everyone's coming in, please recognize that there is a link in the description box if you're not seeing the chat, and the link will take you to the website and the chat, where the chat will be available on the website. And I see about 15 of you have already joined in on the website in the chat. Appreciate you guys coming in. This is the chat I think we're going to keep. I did this show this morning because I'm concerned. I'm concerned about a trend that I have seen develop over the past year, I would say. And what has happened is we are seeing that just based on our general conversations in life, we are seeing these ads show up on our phones, ads, even emails relating directly to what we've talked about around our iPhones. Now, in the beginning, when something like this happens to you, you're automatically going to think that it's just a coincidence, right? Because the enemy thrives on us just writing things off as coincidence. But when you begin to put the puzzle pieces together, and when you begin to talk amongst other people that have experienced this exact same thing, this is when you begin to realize that this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not a coincidence. Now, I want to hear from you guys in the chat and let me know if you've ever experiencing anything like this. We need to get to the bottom of this, you guys. This isn't fear mongering. This is real. We're going to look at the evidence today. We're going to look at patents that Google actually put in place as far back as 2012. Microphone technology to listen in on your conversations and then basically parrot back to you ads that are tailored to what you were talking about. Now, many of you speak into this program on your iPhones called Siri. What is Siri? You guys, Siri is iris backwards. The word iris of your eye. And I believe that this technology was implemented years ago to basically map your voice recognition, so that it could then read your voice secretly through this microphone and then pair it back to you advertising at the point of thought, we'll call it, which is at the point that you're thinking about something. When you are then given that information back, that is going to be the highest rate of conversion. In other words, when you're talking about something, think about this for a minute. When you're talking about something, for instance, are you guys not able to hear the audio? Not sure why. Someone hears it. Yeah, guest 1201 says they can hear. You probably need to refresh Blessing TX7. Let me put that in here. At the point of which you're thinking about something is going to be the greatest conversion rate for advertising. Now, I come from a marketing background, and there was no way near the sophistication that we have, that we have now in terms of the ability for them to use this technology. But when let's hit this. But when you saw applications like Siri come out, I did not have a very good feeling about that at all. I knew what they were doing. All of these apps are a means to an end. They throw you a bone, they throw you some kind of service, some kind of really cool app, and then they use those apps either to collect data or to basically implement something down the road. It's gradualism. They slowly lead you to the horse to water, right? Now, again, we're going to look at some of this evidence. I got some screenshots pulled up, some articles that were written. We're going to look at some of the history of this microphone surveillance is basically what it is. We're going to look at people's experience, but then we're going to also look at patents that were passed by Google in 2012 that were starting to pave the way for exactly what we're experiencing now. Now, I want to hear from you guys in the chat about what your experience has been when you're sitting around with friends or your phone is just sitting on the table, or if you're in Snapchat. That's where I've seen this happen before. You're Snapchatting something, talking, and all of a sudden an ad shows up, exactly what you were talking about. And this can go on for days. It's like they're listening in. And if this doesn't concern you, it should. Because a lot of people have very personal conversations. They don't want what they're saying and what they think is their private time to be going through any type of information where it can be collected and then displayed back to you. Okay? Now think about this for a second. What is this called? Point of thought. This is a new term. I'm coining this term now. Point of thought. What is the point of thought? The point of thought is the time in your brain where you decide you're talking about something. A whole cascade of chemicals start to circulate throughout your brain with relation to that thought, because the thought came into your head and now you're basically in the moment, let's call it. You're at the point of thought. The desire is the highest for that ice cream cone or that slice of pizza, or for that shirt that you want, that you've been meaning to buy from Nordstrom's or whatever, or that pair of Nikes that you wanted. That is called the point of thought. And these people know it. And so what they've done is they've capitalized on that. The point at which you speak and verbalize these desires is the point at which you are most likely to follow through and enact your desire, or to carry out what it is you're thinking about. Everything after that, it is like a graph. It slowly trickles down to basically gets drowned out in all of the other things that happen in life, and you forget about the thought, and you are no longer prompted or encouraged to carry through with that thought. And it seems as though these advertisers are capitalizing on that through the help of Google and your iPhone. Now, this isn't to scare you. This isn't to make you like turn your phone off or bury it in a closet somewhere. The way we fight stuff like this is with knowledge and activism, so that they have to change their behavior. Just like the truth bomb that we did this morning on the children's app that was showing this pedo symbol, this well-known pedo symbol. And that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to dig into this, see if it's really happening. I want your guys' feedback in the chat, and let me know if you've ever experienced anything like this as well. And if you have, maybe we should do some experiments on this. Maybe people should start speaking into their phones and seeing if they can recreate the effect. Maybe they should document it. Maybe they should be doing videos on the effect. And when 100 truthers with YouTube followings do something like this and can recreate the effect on the fly, now we will have proof. And this should shake everyone to the core, because nowhere did I give my permission to be listened into on my phone. Now, I have an old iPhone 4. And so I don't seek to upgrade. I know that every time you upgrade a phone, all you're doing is upgrading the technology through which they can surveil you. That's the truth, you guys. I'm not making that up. And I know for the longest time, even when I was working as a rep, I had a flip phone. I had the old flip phones. And everyone would tease me. There was all this social pressure to upgrade. And I was judged based on the kind of phone that I had, right? Well, that is all demonic, okay? That is exactly where they want you, tied into the beast, socially pressuring one another to be at the cutting edge. This is where they want you because this is where they have the greatest amount of control. Okay. Now I'm going to give some shout outs before we get into this. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're crazy for recognizing these things. And the way that we fight against this, as I said, is the truth of channels need to pick this video up and they need to try to recreate this by speaking to their phone and seeing what ads come up. I've seen it happen in Snapchat where my girlfriend has pulled up Snapchat and we're talking about something and all of a sudden an ad appears for exactly the subject we were talking about. And I think if a couple of larger channels could try to recreate this effect, don't put anything up that doesn't recreate the effect, but if the effect is there, the effect is there. And I think we should all try it. Heck, if you guys want to try it and send me in your videos, I don't know how we do that. It's hard to send videos to each other, isn't it? But if you can, let's try something like that. Just short little clips, 30 seconds long. Let me give a couple of shout outs to those of you that showed up today. Let's look at the map. There you are around the world. Wow, we've got Singapore. We've got Australia. We've got South Africa. Wow. Welcome, you guys. Wow, we've even got, what is this, South America. All my brothers and sisters in the U.S., Canada, and what is that? Is that Germany? Germany. Welcome, you guys. Appreciate you guys coming out. Now, let's get into the chat here. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, even if you turn your phone off, I'm not even sure that's going to help. Let's see. Life of Cal says, in the stars, you have to read all the acknowledgments when you reboot your phone at the beginning. All those acceptance that you have to push, except for actually specifically say they can use your audio, pictures, video, microphone as accumulated data. If Life of Cal, if you can send me or research or find that acknowledgement or those agreements, I was actually looking for that in preparation for this show. I couldn't find anything published online, but if someone could like take screenshots of your agreement when you reboot your phone, and so we're going to go through that with a fine-tooth comb and see if there's anything in there that references microphones or collecting your data. Okay. Attention Kmart shopper says 1984. Absolutely. Now let's get into some of this, you guys, as you guys continue to filter in here. Let's leave this up. And I've got some stuff pulled up. Now other people are experiencing this too. And I wasn't too shocked to find this. This is a March 5th, 2016 article. I'll put a link in the chat here. If any of you are on a laptop and you want to pull this up, here's the link as we read through this. Now, this is unbelievable because they talk about this. Is your smartphone listening to you, or is it just coincidence? Well, they want you to think it's coincidence, but it's actually not. It says security researchers have developed an app that spies on the conversations of those around the phones it is installed on. But the purpose of the app isn't to breach your privacy. Instead, it has been designed to demonstrate how your privacy might be breached and how what you say could be used by search engines and advertising networks to make adverts that are even more targeted. Let's take a look at the evidence and try to work out whether surveillance-driven advertising is really taking place, or if it is really nothing more than good old-fashioned coincidence. When your phone knows, various users across the web have claimed that something fishy is going on with their phones. They believe that smartphone microphones are being used to record what they say, with the information used to better target Google Ads on websites and Facebook. It sounds unlikely, but the anecdotal evidence is quite compelling. BBC Technology report Zoe Kleiman reports an occasion when she learned of a friend's death in tragic circumstances, only to find that her friend's name, the accident, location, and year were in the Google search box on her phone. Further stories on Reddit expand further, such as this one from Hawk8177. I was talking to a friend about a med he takes. Next day, I'm getting ads about that med. I asked a friend something about the best way to defog car windows. The next day, when I opened YouTube, the first suggestion for me to watch was how to defog windows. Here's another. My SO and I were having a chat, and I was telling her about a new Nespresso shop that opened up in the city and how nicely designed it was. I don't like coffee that much. I've never even tried Nespresso. That's the only time I can remember having a conversation about Nespresso to anyone, and I've certainly never Googled it or anything. The next day, all my ads on Chrome were about Nespresso. I have no issues with ads popping up related to things I've searched by voice or type, but it did feel a bit invasive being constantly listened to and for private conversations to be used as a means to target ads at me. So many of these stories can be found on Reddit and beyond. This one, about a user noticing Google ads for everything he discussed with his wife, is particularly interesting, although too long to reproduce here. So here's their experience. They said back in 2015, I noticed a startling similarity between my Google Now recommendations. Google Now is a popular Google alternative to Siri. We just talked about Siri. And news updates and the shows I'd recently been watching. Keen to avoid spoilers, I had resisted the temptation to search for anything about the programs, so it was a surprise to see them listed. A few days later, I'd forgotten about this until I noticed that after leaving my phone at my mom's house, a bunch of new shows appeared in Google Now, along with the legend, because of your interest in this show. Wow. You'll see two examples above on the left. Fireman Sam, which often played on TV, not far from my phone. On the right, British TV drama Heartbeat, selected because it was similar to Coronation Street, a show watched in our house, but not Googled. So here you go. These are the examples they showed of the ads that popped up. It won't surprise you to learn that I don't share the same taste in TV shows as my mom. Google Now and Android offers precious little in the way of options that might disable the microphone, other than abandoning the launcher altogether. So to combat this, I started leaving my phone in my home office when watching TV. At the very least, I get fewer interruptions, and the appearance on my phone of TV shows I'm watching or are currently screening has dropped to 0. It does seem as though this is something more than coincidence, but can it be proven that smartphone mics are being used to collect data and target appropriate content at users? All right, let's keep going with this. Now, we're going to get into the patent as well. The patent of Google in microphones back in 2012. And if they patented it back in 2012, chances are they, in fact, are using that technology. Now, what does Google have to say about this? Let's see here. What the app does to prove that other apps could be stealing data captured through your smartphone microphone, cybersecurity expert Ken Monroe developed, with the help of David Lodge from Pen Test Partners, an app that would record what was being said in the vicinity of a phone and display it on a PC monitor. As Monroe explained to the BBC, all we did was use the existing functionality of Google Android. We chose it because it was a little easier for us to develop in. We gave ourselves permission to use the microphone on the phone, set up a listening server on the internet, and everything that microphone heard on that phone, wherever it was in the world, came to us, and we could then have sent back customized ads. David Lodge went on to explain that much of the code was already available, either within the operating system or in the public domain, and it seems the experiment was achieved with minimal battery drain on the device. What does Google have to say about this? They say that they categorically reject the accusations. Google and Facebook have both denied that their apps can take advantage of smartphone microphones to gather information in this way, with Facebook telling the BBC that it blocks brands from advertising based on microphone data, and Google claiming categorically that it does not use any utterances from when the OK Google hot word is used, it seems unlikely that any of this really happens. Additionally, Google developer policy that all app developers must agree to specifies that apps do not breach privacy in this way. So what is going on? Are devices listening? Are Google and Facebook using voice recognition software against us to make a profit? Or is it really all just coincidence? Have you had the uncanny feeling that what you just talked about has appeared as an ad on your phone? Tell us about it in the comments. Now, there's 135 comments on here. Let's click on these here. And of course, people are saying it's happening to them all the time. Unbelievable. So let's keep going with this because let's see here. The same question was asked on a Quora question. Let's go in the chat here and make sure you guys are good. Let's see here. Looking in the chat. Let's see here. Wow. All right. Well, the same question was asked, does Google access your PC's microphone for advertisement? Recently, I found out that my laptop's built-in microphone is being used for Google Ads. I was telling my roommate about Chromebook, and I got the Chromebook ad on some site within a couple of minutes on Google AdSense. I tried it by speaking many keywords purposefully and got the same results. Since when did Google start using microphone and tapping our daily life conversation? What kind of terms and conditions we agreed to let Google access our camera and microphone for ad purposes? That's what I'd like to get my hands on, are the terms and conditions for this. Is it integrated in Chrome? And I doubt that even my Android phone is doing the same while data connection is on. P.S. I am 100% sure it is genuine Google AdSense popped up on New York Times website. Couple of responses. This person said, microphone camera access requires explicit approval from user in both HTMLs as well as Flash. The fact that they even have an approval button is suspicious. Access to your camera and microphone. If any of the Google web properties were using microphone for any reason whatsoever, they would use to confirm that access through one of those two APIs. This person's trying to say it's third-party software, malicious, some type of bug or virus. And I just don't buy that based on the fact that Google looks to patent tech that listens to calls to promote ads. This goes back to 3/22/2012, Skull and Bones, March 22nd, 88 days after Christmas. Now listen to this. Let's read through this article. One of Google's numerous pending patents involves technology that would take note of background noise like rain during phone calls and serve users related ads, such as a pitch for an umbrella, like something out of George Orwell's 1984, where Big Brother is watching you. Google is trying to patent technology that would pick up on background noise during mobile phone calls, and then promote related ads. The title of the application is Advertising Based on Environmental Conditions. Let's close this, whatever this is. I don't know why that's there. Now let's read a little bit more about this. Let me close this. Now, they kind of gave themselves away here, but a lot of this has to do with disclosure. This is how they operate. It says here, apparently the technology will be able to listen in on background noise like rain, music, or baseball game, and then serve related ads such as a spot for an umbrella, a new album, or a sporting event. Let's see. Advertising based on environmental conditions. What's the acronym? ABOE. which is, let's see, CEOBA. Kind of looks like Cobra backwards. Anyway, let's keep going with this. Information about an environmental condition of a remote device is received. The environmental condition being determined based on a signal output from a sensor of the remote device or a sensor coupled to the remote device. The Google application reads, an advertisement is identified based on the environmental condition, and the advertisement is provided to the remote device. If the patent is granted, the web giant won't be employing workers to listen in on users' calls, but will instead use real-time monitoring technology, according to the Next Web. Besides technology that monitors phone calls, the patent application also looks into placing on the people's computers online ads that are influenced by data from environmental sensors such as temperature, humidity, light, and sound. So now they can basically peek in to the conditions on your phone. Like if it's too hot, they're going to send you ads on air conditioning and water, or buy a Pepsi or a Coke. And if your phone is too cold, they're going to send you ads on sweaters and hot chocolate and coffee. You see where this is headed, you guys. For example, advertisements for air conditioners can be sent to users located at regions having temperatures above a first threshold, while advertisements for winter overcoats can be sent to users located at regions having temperatures below a second threshold. The patent reads. Patent application also determines possible technology to look at the backgrounds of photos and videos people have taken. You guys, this is why I got off of Facebook. This is why when I'm using my phone and using my computer, I'm using it to fight the New World Order. I'm not using it to dump a bunch of personal data about myself, people I love, because it's exactly what they want. It says, for example, the Next Web explains if someone has a picture with snow in it, they may be shown an ad for snow shovels. According to Google, the company has thousands of pending patent applications. It's unclear if and when the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office will grant this particular patent. We file patent applications on a variety of ideas that our employees come up with. Some of those ideas later mature into real products or services, some don't. Google representative said today. Prospective product announcements should not necessarily be inferred from our patent application. The Next Web points out the application is reminiscent of an amusing Onion parody video. And here you go. These ads were specifically given to me based on my searches and my interest. Now, let's look at this. Oh, this is March 20th. This looks like it's the same ad or the same story talking about this patent on background noise. Now I'm curious to see if this patent has been approved. I think this is basically saying the exact same thing. Let's take a look here. Let's copy this and see if the patent was approved. Remember, this was back in 2012. Let me go back in the chat real quick. Make sure you guys are good. Let's refresh this. Let's take a look here. Wow, did someone find the Privacy Act? Let's take a look. Account Samsung membership PP. Awesome. Privacy policy. We'll take a look at that. Thanks, Life of Cal. Appreciate your quick response to that. We'll be able to cover this live. We'll read through it. Just have to refresh this, make sure you guys are good to go. All right. Again, if you're just popping in this live show and you're wondering where the chat is, the link is in the description. Click on it. Everyone's over here in the chat. And let's go look at this here. So I wanted to see if so it says, let's see. Let's go by the dates and find any results from after 2012. So we'll put in 1/1/2013. Okay. Google wants display ads targeted on your refrigerator. Let's see here. Here we go. Wow. On May 22nd. So let's see what it says here. Oh, this is InfoWars. So they're acknowledging this 2012 patent. It says here, let's not forget that in 2012, that Google patented technology to listen in. It wants to display targeted ads on your refrigerator. Okay. Now this was back in 2014, so it looks like they were slowly trickling this out. And now we are full blown on your devices. They are listening in and giving you ads. But back in 2014, according to InfoWars, Google plans to use smart devices such as refrigerators and thermostats connected to the internet to serve targeted advertisements to users in the near future, according to its recent filing with the Securities Exchange Commission. In the filing, the multinational tech company refused to disclose how much money it makes from displaying ads on mobile devices because Google expects the definition of mobile to continue to evolve as more and more smart devices gain traction in the market. For example, a few years from now, we and other companies could be serving ads and other content on refrigerators, car dashboards, thermostats, glasses, and watches, to name just a few possibilities, the company stated. Our expectation is that users will be using our services and viewing our ads on an increasingly wide diversity of devices in the future, and thus our advertising systems are becoming increasingly device agnostic. Wow. Enhanced campaigns, Google targeted ad program, was specifically designed to help advertisers become more efficient in a multi-device future rather than writing unique desktop campaigns, handset campaigns, and tablet campaigns. Enhanced campaigns allow our advertisers to write one ad campaign, which we serve dynamically to the right user at the right time on whatever device makes the most sense. You see how this works? So again, this is point of thought is what they're trying to get to. They're trying to climb inside your head. So in other words, Google could determine your eating habits based on data it already collected on you and then display the appropriate food advertisement on your refrigerator. Or perhaps even display ads for summer clothes or sweaters on your thermostat. So basically, you're holding in your hand an extension of your brain. Most of the time, our devices are in close proximity to us. Pretty soon, they're going to integrate your device into your body. That's what's going to happen next. It will be part of you. Let me put a link to this article in the chat because I think this is a really good article by InfoWars detailing what is to come, what is happening. Again, this is a 2014 article. Now let's look at this agreement by Samsung. And I appreciate the subscriber who sent this to me. This is the privacy policy. Let's do a search on microphone. That'll be the quickest way to get to the bottom of this. Mic. All right, we have a match. If you enable voice recognition, you can interact with your smart TV using your voice. To provide you the voice recognition feature, some interactive voice commands may be transmitted along with information about your device, including device identifiers, to a third-party service provider. There it is. Some interactive voice commands may be transmitted to a third-party service provider. In this instance, it's currently Nuance Communications Incorporated, and who knows where it goes from there, right? Converts your interactive voice commands to text and to an extent necessary to provide the voice recognition features to you. In addition, Samsung may collect and your device may capture voice commands and associated text so that we can provide you with voice recognition features and evaluate and improve the features. Samsung will collect your interactive voice commands only when you make specific search requests to the smart TV. So this is a smart TV agreement. By clicking the activation button either on the remote control or on your screen and speaking into the microphone on the remote control. If you do not enable voice recognition, you will not be able to use interactive voice recognition features, although you may be able to control your TV using certain predefined voice commands. So it sounds like if you, on your smartphone, have your voice recognition enabled, then you're probably agreeing to some things being shared with a third party. And I'm not sure if you're able to turn off voice recognition on your phone, but I do know more and more people, more and more mobile users are accustomed to using the voice command. Now, you see how this works. Again, just like with Siri, they give you a service, a feature, something really cool to play with that's going to give you a service, but then on the flip side, you're sharing information that you might not necessarily think that you're sharing or know that you're sharing or aware of it. That is the problem. Okay, but guys, I'm back in the chat. Does anyone have a user agreement for an actual mobile device, not just a smart TV? I mean, I was actually shocked to even read that in a smart TV agreement, because that's more of a device where, you know, it's not as widespread, I guess, as mobile devices. But that's just unbelievable. So based on everything we talked about today, you guys, we pretty much know what's happening. Google's got the patent. They want to implement this on all smart devices. They're talking about refrigerators and coffee makers. And literally, this is going to be like one of those 1980s movies where everything is listening to you, is I think where our society is headed. Now, you can turn it all off, but then they will make you feel isolated from the mainstream. And my belief is that over time, the dichotomy between people that are plugged in and the people that are not, the gap is going to widen further and further. And there will be actually a social shift of the way people behave who are plugged in versus the people who are not plugged in. And I believe that the gap is going to widen between even your abilities as a citizen and your rights if you're not plugged in. In other words, they're going to require that you're plugged in, and you're not going to be able to feed yourself, or you're not going to be able to work, or all of these different things, or drive without being quote unquote plugged in. Okay. I was shocked. I went to go order some new checks, and usually you could call Bank of America and they'll just send you more checks based on your last order. Well, now they don't do that. They make you go online. And anytime I see a company that makes you go online to do something instead of just being able to make a phone call, identify yourself, and make the appropriate request, that's when I see everything tightening around us in terms of the digital revolution. And pretty soon, everything that we interact with is going to be locked into the matrix. There will be no escape. Okay. And maybe in the future, the people who are not plugged into the technology are going to be the ones that they round up into the FEMA camps, making up some excuse about them that they're a danger to the public, or because they're not vaccinated, they're a biological hazard, or whatever the case may be. Or that we're using Agenda 21 resources that is illegal. We're not allowed to fish. We're not allowed to live off the land. And they're just going to basically force everyone into the matrix. They're going to try to mix the steel with the watery clay. They're going to try to mix the devices made of metals into the humanoids, which are us, into the watery clay, the dust. But the Bible promises that the two shall not cleave. And that is where we're at now in history. The last of Daniel's prophecy at the feet, this steel mixed with watery clay. And it's all going down right now, you guys. This is just another example. Now I'm back in the chat. Let's see here. I'm starting to wonder if some of these devices aren't giving off some kind of a noise, some kind of a hypnotic low vibratory frequency or high vibratory frequency. Okay. You notice people sleep next to their devices. Why do we sleep next to our devices? Why can't we turn the noise off when it's time to sleep? What's wrong with us? Why do some people have to sleep with white noise? I think because it drowns out the natural noises of our environment, and the smartphones are taking over. They're plugging into us even as we sleep, and they can hide anything they want in this noise. Subliminal music, backmasking, I believe, is an element. In other words, when something is backwards, we don't know what the sound is until we play it backwards. But does that mean it's not having an effect on us? Played in the wrong direction? I believe it does have an effect on us. We just don't know it. The same thing, the way that everything we see comes into our eyes upside down and has to be flipped around. Well, in that transition, something is lost in that. We're not actually seeing reality. We're seeing a reflection of reality. And it is through the reflection of our brain. And these subtle changes and these nuances is how we are deceived, basically. Somewhere in the translation of sound and sight is where the devil creeps in and can deceive us. And that's what we're dealing with. So I always tell you guys, you have to spend time in nature, away from the devices. Turn them off for a while. Take a walk. Stare into the clouds. Stare into the trees. Stare into the grass and watch the wind blow the leaves. If you spend too much time in the devil's vice, he will eventually have your soul, because this is the medium through which he deceives us. All right. Let's see here. Looking in the chat, Life of Cal is still trying to help us with the mobile device agreement. Mark's talking about the USA Wiretap Act of 72. Smart Shopper's talking about selenium and melatonin. Unplug as much as I can. Good sleep. Exactly. As our pineal gland matures, it is less and less able to secrete melatonin for you to sleep at night. This is why as we get older, we're not sleeping through the night. I believe that the light that comes in through our eyes from our devices is affecting our pineal melatonin and serotonin balance, throwing it off. We can't turn the noise off. We can't turn the light off. It's coming in. The light regulates the pineal balance between serotonin and melatonin, and it is getting thrown off. And this is why we need to supplement the pineal with natural melatonin, which will help us sleep. Michael says, I was unable to use my childhood name Yisak as Casey backwards. And it's interesting because they know that Casey backwards is Yeshua. They know that. And so we found in film where, and I'm not saying this because I'm special or anything, okay? My name just happens to be Casey. But as we know, nothing happens by accident. And I've seen in movies where they've basically They know that Casey backwards is Yeshua, and so they make fun of it as it relates to Christ. All right. You guys will start to notice this as well. Guest 9640 says, if I don't plug my phone in at night, no matter the power, usually anything less than 64%, my phone will be shut off and dead by the morning. Exactly. So it's doing something. It shouldn't be shutting off with 64%. Your phone is working while you're sleeping. All connected to CERN in the computer. Exactly. I believe they're connecting this, and all of this data processing is occurring at CERN, who actually invented the World Wide Web. The vibration of the serpent, exactly. Why is a device called a device? Because it's the devil's vice. I watched a stormy morning change and the clouds part to the blue sky earlier. It was amazing. Everyone else was looking at their phones, Guest 48 says. Exactly. That's what we need to do, is look into nature. 440 hertz of vibration of the serpent. Yes, it's supposed to be 432, not 440. Take the battery out. Keep your frequency higher. All right, you guys, just wanted to say that. Appreciate all you guys coming out. We will have another live show probably on Sunday. I don't know what's going to be about yet. There's always stuff to talk about, you guys. I'm glad we got to talk about this. Again, this isn't to make you afraid. There's really not a lot you can do about this, but there are ways that you can minimize it by not using some of these apps. Don't feed into it and help them brainwash us. Don't use Siri. Don't continually share your face on some of these apps so that they have more and more data to work with to deceive us. They're learning. And in that respect, CERN is very much alive. It is learning with us, with our experiences through our devices. It's computing all this data. They're running programs and algorithms. And probably some of the things that they're discovering are things that would shock all of us. They're probably somewhere in the order of in the spiritual dimension. Some of the things that they're learning through the algorithms that pass through our devices every single day, things they could never, ever, ever share with us. But believe me, it's happening. And if you could see behind the veil and see what they're discovering and read it on a page, it would shock you to the core. And you would probably never use one of these devices ever again. To the point where they could affect your relationships based on listening in to you. They could even actually tempt you. They could be tempting you with some of the things that they are showing us and the advertisers. Jerry wants me to look at Forrest Gump, but he's got to leave. So appreciate that, Jerry. I'll watch that today. It's a long movie. It was kind of boring for me, but I will do it as a special request. So I leave you guys today with this. If your heart is in the right place and you're hearing the words that we spoke about on the show, and you understand what we're up against, you have a choice to make. Do we feed the beast? Do we give in to the tech, knowing that it's going to one day be to our detriment? Or do we fight the beast? There is no fence to sit on, okay? There's no fence to sit on. We have to make a decision. And fighting the beast is as simple as making different choices in your life. Love you guys. Take care and be safe.